current Kevin talking to future Kevin. McDavid is gonna have an insane game today, so we'll see if I was right. But he's gonna bring it today. It's gonna be a fun game tonight.
8 hours later.
Every real estate journey is unique. That's why we created the AOF Real Estate Team, a full-service solution built to support you at every stage. Whether you're building wealth through strategic investments, need hassle-free property management, or want to maximize your sale price as a Scott McGilvery trusted team, we've assembled all key services under one roof. First-time buyer or seasoned investor, our dedicated client success team ensures your experience is seamless from start to finish. At AOF, we make real estate simple, profitable, and stress-free. The AOF Real Estate Team, your journey, our expertise.
All right, everyone, welcome to the AOF Real Estate Team monthly update. Today is Monday, June 9th for everyone tuning in. And for us here in Edmonton, that is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So we getting our little pre-game chat going here. Kev's got the colors rocking loud and proud. So love to see it. Let's go. Alona, why don't we jump into the race stats that were released last week here?
Sounds good. So there are basically three main points that I wanted to emphasize from the stats that were released from May 2025. Home prices remain strong year over year, and despite more listings, average home prices are still up 5.2% from last year. It's a strong signal of market resilience and long-term value that we see in the Edmonton market. Sales activity is also rebounding month over month. There are more sales happened in May compared to April by 9.7%. It's showing a renewed energy in the market as well, and buyers are still actively making moves, especially for well-priced and well-presented properties. And another point that I wanted to emphasize is that homes are selling faster than last year. So the average time of the market dropped to just 29 days, and that's 5 days faster than this time last year. What about you guys? What are you guys seeing? Do you see that these stats reflect what is actually happening in the trenches?
Yeah, I think those are great stats, and it's really exciting because, as you can see me wearing all my Oilers gear, the market here has actually been fairly distracted. Basically, every second day for the last 6 weeks or so has been an extravaganza of joy, emotion. It's just been chaos here. And our city, if you've never been to Edmonton, when we're in the playoffs, it's a different town. It's fun, it's exciting, but really, Oilers is the only thing on people's minds. So we're kind of in a transition time in our market for timing, because generally speaking, June's our last really busy month, and then we start getting into July and August where people start going on vacation. We're a cold province in the wintertime, so when it warms up, we like to go camping or go on little trips. So you're going to start to see that a little bit. But as a buyer, really good time to kind of shop around and see what is out there. As you heard from Alona, though, with the stats, prices aren't dropping. Anything that you can acquire right now without going into multiple offers right now is honestly a win. So day by day, depending on what your timing looks like, this would be a really good time when the city's distracted. There's some sellers that are on the market, maybe a little bit motivated to move. So if you're looking to buy, right now is a great time.
Well said.
And to take that a little bit further, as Alona was saying, we've got something like 5,000 new listings that came onto the market in May, but our total inventory is still only 6,520 listings, which is 2.2 months of inventory. So, while it seems like a lot of listings that were added, we were at an extremely low level of listings to begin with. So, we got to look at that as an opportunity for the buyers to actually have some choice and some ability to think things through a little bit before moving forward. So, you don't have to make a decision in 2 hours. You can, maybe take a day to think about things. So, while there is more listings coming on, it's it's going to be a benefit certainly for the buyers.
Mike, and just to speak to that too, I think that's where having a good trusted advisor and a team of support that's able to help, set some expectations around that you can't sit on the fence for a week because the opportunity will most likely be gone, especially if it's an attractive opportunity that we're reviewing and exploring together. But, coming in with a game plan helps us get that victory, get that win. So being
Well, yeah,
prepared.
and if you look at average days on market, it's actually come down with all these new listings. So that means there's more buyers out there too as well. So it's all relative. So yeah, and there's, I know Drew and I were talking about this over the last couple of days. There's still pockets of inventory that is so red hot that you're going to be fighting a big battle to win those properties. So that's why anything that's in high demand is usually stuff that investors really like as well. So there's a reason why everyone wants it. So keep in mind, days on market have dropped, but we're still seeing a ton of hot listings going on right now. So it just really depends on the type of project.
Yeah.
And this is when a lot of the really serious buyers are coming out. They recognize that they've got a little bit more choice. Maybe they can make a decision in a day now instead of having to have their hand forced and make a decision within a few hours of seeing the property. So it's kind of not. I don't want to say that we're seeing softness, but we're definitely seeing some of that pressure be relieved a little bit with more listings coming on, but things are still moving fairly quickly. But I think like looking at real estate investing for the long term, that's what we base our business off of. And we work with a lot of investors who are long-term buy and hold investors. And long-term, I see Edmonton being one of the most attractive markets in Canada. We're the most undervalued, high upside rental markets, I believe, that's left in Canada. We've got close to like a 3% vacancy rate, 3-bedroom townhouses, 3-bedroom semi-detached, detached homes are in high demand with renters looking to move their families into. And it's not situated in one part of the city. It's all over the place. I mean, we've got stock in the little surrounding areas around Edmonton, Spruce Grove, Beaumont, Leduc. We're seeing high demand pretty well across the board.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to, government policy where the city of Edmonton's really trying to attract people here. They've got ambitious goals for their population growth over the next number of years. We're seeing Alberta in general is a top destination for investors and for people moving here alike, just because of the affordability, because of the jobs. Long-term play, Edmonton is going to be a great long-term play.
Yeah. And a lot of
And even
investment-
surrounding communities around Edmonton. I had a showing in Calmar on Saturday, on Sunday, and by the time we put an offer, there was 8 other offers on the property, and the property sold unconditionally. And that's, guys, we're talking about the property in Calmar. That's maybe 40 minutes away drive from Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of action still happening out there, and as kind of alluded to with the stats, with more listings, maybe it puts the buyers in a position now where they can be a little bit more strategic, but at the same time, there's still a call to action that having that strategy in place and being prepared for those attractive opportunities. Like they're still going to go fast, they're going to go in multiples, and loan, like in that case, sometimes still unconditional. So if you want to win that particular property, we just got to come together with a good strategy there. So listing side, like I guess, have you guys seen some good traction? I know Kev, a couple of the opportunities, investor specific, like looking at detached homes, secondary suites, semi-detached, or like side-by-side duplexes, seeing some action still on those opportunities. Hey?
Yeah, they've been, we had some new construction listings that were on MLS that are flying off the shelves right now. We had one actually last week that went over list price. And that's why, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you're one of our valued clients. If you're looking for something like this, don't just search MLS, contact us, because instead of fighting for these on MLS, we have them still as an off-market opportunity for our own clientele. So if one of our buyers wants it, we can make that happen. We have access to other inventory that's not even on MLS. So if you're one of those investors, and I see it all the time, they're actively shopping MLS and they think that's what the deals are. We have a whole bunch more: new construction, resale, we have it all. So make sure you're reaching out to us and we can kind of go through what our options are. Benefits being, we usually have more inclusions in our deals than on MLS. Our builder partners are more willing to do things like landscaping and fencing, which on our MLS listings, you'll see none of that's included. So there's a lot of value add with our stuff. So make sure you reach out. We'll be happy to get you the best possible deal we can.
Absolutely. And speaking of that point too, not just on the MLS, but even direct to builders coming from that space, having worked for a builder, it is one of those things when you talk about the landscaping fencing, where a lot of builders, that's not in their kind of standard specification. They have it in their scope, but most oftentimes they're just looking for a little bit more of a straightforward, tried and tested model that they've used part of their business plan for decades upon decades. And, we're focusing in on very turnkey specific investor purpose built style properties. So, we're able to look at these opportunities and evaluate them with a lot more of those locked in kind of benefits being included in the purchase price. So there's a lot of value there, oftentimes going to be at an incentivized price as well. But that AOF investor package being fully turnkey is a huge asset. And especially when you're looking at the off-market opportunities, that's what's included. That's something that we do a lot of due diligence on. When we talk about the path to profit, kind of that stage zero or ground zero part of the procurement, that we're evaluating these numbers and ensuring that every investor is protected, but also their investment then dollars are protected. That there's not going to be outrageous cash calls after closing where they need to add different features to have them prepared for investors to be rented.
Yeah. See, Kellen's being really polite. Builders absolutely hate doing landscaping, fencing, all the extra stuff. But using our relationship and our value add with our clientele that have certain expectations, and like Kellen said, we don't want them to come up with a bunch of cash after closing. We really want this to be turnkey. So we use that relationship to hold the builder's hand and encourage them to do this as a benefit to the client. Long term and short term, the client wins, the builder wins, because the client's really happy. So on MLS deals, so I encourage you, if you take a search, you're gonna, I would say 99.9% of the time, there won't be landscaping and fencing included, especially fencing. Fencing is a huge undertaking, and we're so appreciative of the builders that we work with that they do that for our clients. But like little things like window coverings, like we really try and make this as easy as possible so that you buy something, the property management fills it. You don't really have to do anything. It's not going to be something that keeps you up at night wondering, oh my God, what do I need to do? It's all done. We've thought about it through and through. We're the professionals and experts on this side of things. So you compare any of our deals versus MLS, and it's a no-brainer.
And there's so much to think about. Go ahead, Alona. Yeah.
Just wanted to say that you often see new construction being sold on MLS without appliances.
Yeah.
Exactly. You might have appliances in the upper unit, but the basement unit will have empty, like no appliances at all, and no credit for appliances for the buyers. So people have to be aware of that as well.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of moving parts to new construction. And if you're getting yourself into a situation where you're dealing directly with a builder, I mean, what is your conditional period when you're dealing with that builder? When it's on MLS, they don't want to have a long conditional period where you have a ton of time to go through the contract and make sure that everything's included. Like Kev said, are there window coverings? That's something that's easily overlooked, that you don't think, that a lot of people don't even think about.
Yeah.
To Alona's point, the appliances, they might give you a $2,500 credit or maybe no credit at all. Like, these are all things you need to think about. And then the fencing and landscaping, of course, that's a major cost that if you don't have it handled up front, I don't want to say it'll bankrupt some, but it'll definitely put a damper on your future plans.
Well, really, between landscaping, window coverings, and appliances, it could be $50,000.
Yeah.
That you have to come up with out of pocket if it's not included in your mortgage, right? So
yeah,
it is definitely a huge plus.
And that's where, like you said, Drew, just to kind of, you have to think about those things, and that's where a lot of our kind of procurement process in the initial due diligence, that when we're evaluating an opportunity that we're going to take to market to help connect investors with, those are the things that leave that to us. We've done this, we've got the experience, and those are the value adds. One of the value adds, I'll say, with AOF. And then, having the experience through the construction process, lease ups to the property management, and then also the warranties. And when it comes time to sell, like when we look at it in that kind of holistic viewpoint, it's not just part of the acquisition, it's part of the whole lifespan of that particular project, where the more value and attention you can put in part of the acquisition and throughout the asset management phase, that's where you're going to have your highest returns when it comes time to sell. And so that's where our team has all of those tools. Not one individual on our team holds all the tools, but as a team, that's where we have the full tool belt filled. I guess kind of just a point. We talk a lot about the new construction. We talk a lot about multifamily MLI Select. And right now, I'm seeing more and more value and feedback from the trusted advisors that we've established relationships with and helped investors get connected with brokers that are boots on the ground, just like we are in Edmonton. A lot of investors put a lot of trust into our team because we are in Edmonton. We know these projects. We're able to guide them through the process. Finding a lot of similar feedback on the financing side is the brokers that are in Alberta, the brokers that have experience with these projects, they are still seeing success when it comes to underwriting, to COIs, the certificate of insurance. They're able to meet the conditions on the existing projects we have. As we've experienced in the last 6 months and almost, I guess, over the past year, there can oftentimes be arbitrary decisions made on the federal front of the CMHC program. So we have to be fluid and have to be able to adapt. I will say that 100%. We're always actively looking at that and reevaluating. However, there has been some common feedback, just where, some new conditions and some new concerns over the product has potentially caused a little bit of, uneasiness with some investors looking at these projects. But right now, we're still seeing a lot of strength in the underwriting on the existing projects that we have. We're seeing COIs come in on contiguous buildings. So if they're all bordering, we've seen some successes there, as well as still attractive terms of financing. Not going to tell you everything's 95% loan to value out there, but we're still seeing, that anything sub 20, but even in that 10 to 15% down, that's still a very attractive option if that meets your needs and your strategy. And that's something that our team can help guide you through, because we've been through this program now for over 3 years experience. And so we're happy to kind of, I've used this term before, hold your hand or jump on our back. Like, we can help guide you through the process. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, but when you have a full team of support that's there for you, we're going to be able to navigate the waters together. So,
Well, I think it's important too, like you said, you kind of alluded to, Kellen, there's a lot of confusion out there right now about CMHC, MLI Select. And I think if you're dealing with a team that's on that front in the trenches every day, talking with different lenders, different brokers, getting the landscape for what's coming up, what is currently true, what is not true, it's so important than, or so much more important than working with somebody who isn't um, isn't apprised to all of that information at any given time, right? So you really have to be mindful. It's not for the faint of heart, but it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult.
yeah. It's tough to look at precedents right now as being the most reliable, but the experience is invaluable.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we're gonna have a broker that has done hundreds of these MLI Select financing deals on the podcast here, hopefully sooner than later, and I think it'd be exciting. So look out for that. We'll do some frequently asked questions and really get down to the nitty gritty of how this financing works and how it can be a tool for you to get a bunch of real estate with less money than the conventional way. So look out for that.
Cool. Anybody else have any final points?
Well, this is future Kevin talking to, or no, current Kevin talking to future Kevin. McDavid is gonna have an insane game today. So we'll see if I was right, but he's gonna bring it today. It's gonna be a fun game tonight.
Love it. All right, Kev, Drew, Spencer, and Alona, thank you so much. My name is Kellen Kunik from everybody at the AOF Real Estate Team. Take care, and we'll see you next episode.
It's simple as
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. AOF's got the recipe. Simple as can be. Trust in us and you will see. We make real estate easy. So easy, believe me. We're here to serve, give you what you deserve. All under one roof, that's our proof. It's still the last one to me.